Welcome to Season 2 of Stand Up and Stand Out, the show for those leaving university and heading into the workforce, or for those already working but disillusioned by their current job. I'm your host, Nikki Green, and we're here to help those in transition find a life with purpose so they can pursue their passion. Following nearly 2 decades working in Fortune 500 companies, I want to share my leadership learnings with all of you. Thought leaders are needed in all walks of life, not just business. And we're in a critical time to pivot ourselves and the community around us to build a better future together. There's no syllabus for this part of the journey. It's time for you to choose your own adventure. Let us help you map the path that aligns with your values and supports your goals and dreams. Work doesn't have to be a bad 4-letter word. By bringing your unique strengths to the table, the impossible can become possible. My stretch goal for this season will be to practice my Spanish, appreciate your support so I can achieve my goals, and keep pushing myself to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Let's get ready for the next episode. So for most of your life, you've been told what to do, where to go to school, what to study, maybe even what to wear and how to look. Some of us may be questioning the path that we started 4 years ago, and that's okay. You may have thought that you'd be working in an office in a fancy downtown high-rise, not chilling in your PJs taking video calls from your kitchen. So what if, for today, we put away the I shoulds that have ruled our lives to this point and start to dream about the I wants? Today is your day to fill it with whatever you wish. Maybe that's a 9-to-5 job, if those even exist. Maybe you have your sights on something of your own, building a business or freelancing in the new gig economy. Today, we'll be exploring a few options on this creative front and pursuing your passion. From the time I learned the word entrepreneur, I wanted to be one. I was in maybe 4th or 5th grade, so about 10 years old. Be my own boss, build whatever my imagination dreams up, change what I do as often as I change my hair color. Where do I sign up? But somewhere between that little 10-year-old girl's dreams and finishing university a decade later, becoming an entrepreneur, it was just a memory. And in its place was a terrified race to a steady paycheck. I took a job that I didn't want because it offered tuition assistance so I could continue with my MBA. Then I took a job working for a tech firm that promised more excitement, but required me to move to another state and work nights. Both jobs left me earning just enough money to put food on the table and pay rent, but left me bored and unfulfilled with the tasks that occupied my day. I want more for all of you. There is more to life than a paycheck. We can be rewarded with money for a broad variety of career choices. So then, why not pick something that you enjoy? Something that challenges you to go and dig deeper. Something that inspires you every day to do your best work. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to episode 17 of Stand Up and Stand Out. Bienvenido a episodio 17 al parte ese destacado. Well, we're almost done with the season. Couple last interesting episodes to bring to you guys. Today, we're going to do a few things differently because today's episode is about creativity. So first of all, we're not scripting this one, so we'll see how it goes. We're going to bring on the wonderful Charles Leon, who joined us this summer at the I Graduated Now What conference, the expert in creativity, and he will share a little bit of his story and how he helps people bring out the creativity in themselves. I think creativity is such an important part of life, and many people downplay their creativity, and I think they misconstrue what the word means. Creativity can be a part of so many things in our life, not just necessarily being artistic, which I know is definitely the first thing that most people think of. So without further ado, we'll let you hear from Charles Leon.
So my name is Charles Leon and I'm a designer. I design 5-star hotels. I still sketch every single day and I help people unlock their creative potential. And I've helped many people uncover their inner creativity and watch them just transform and blossom. Now, creative thinking is the key to unlock human potential. It's the differentiator between success and failure, the difference between a life with purpose and a life without direction. Now, I've also run 2 successful design consultancy, but the one thing that I cherish above all things is working with someone when we hit creative flow. At that moment, time just completely disappears and you can hardly get your ideas down fast enough. You feel this rush of adrenaline and joy throughout your entire body. Ideas just cascade full of possibilities. To think creatively, you have to step into quite risky, uncertain territory and be prepared to fail. And to be honest, that's probably why we quite often avoid it. But if you don't try, I think to some extent you've already failed by default. And it's meaning that you make and create, and it's meaning that matters because meaning gives our lives purpose. There are moments in our life when, if you're anything like me, you will ask yourself the simple question, where am I going? What am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Have I made the right decision? And what's the point of it all? And where do I go next? So let me answer that by slightly obliquely, by giving you a slightly different answer. If you set out on an aircraft, for instance, from Los Angeles to Tokyo, and the navigator makes a 1% mistake on the course settings, well, you could end up in the Philippines. You see, mistakes aggregate and compound over distance and time. A bit like compound interest, they build for better and for worse. And this is what we call the 1% rule. The trick is to know where you want to go and, like the mountain, to continually adjust your course to the elements and to the conditions and keep your mind fixed on the goal. It's just one small step at a time. Now, if you're aware of this rule, you will stay on course and you will find direction, purpose, meaning, and confidence. But I have to warn you, though, that there is a consequence, and the consequence is, of course, that it's addictive. Once you've found your passion, you will look for it absolutely everywhere. But I think it's a price worth paying. So who wouldn't want that?
I hope you guys were as inspired by Charles as I always am. His drawings, his artwork, everything is just amazing, and all that he's accomplished. And you guys can do it too. You heard from him and many of our other speakers throughout this season of the podcast about your path of your career is not linear. You don't know how things are going to turn out. And creativity is going to be a key part of that. If you don't really get stuck in one path, you're going to be better off. Although you may have an idea of what you like, of what you're interested in doing, of the type of income you would like to have in order to have a lifestyle that you want to enjoy, those are all great things. But a lot of stuff happens which we can't control. And I think that's where creativity can really help all of us. Look at the pandemic. So many people were on a set path, and something completely out of not just people in the US's control, but out of the entire world's control happened. And we have to pivot. And now's the time to think about those things. As you're graduating school or just starting to go to work, you may start to get into things and you're like, man, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. So how do I use what I've learned so far to do what is actually going to make me happy, what is going to fulfill my passion? And that's where creativity comes, I think, to play. For me, I know what many people think when they say creativity, because it happened to me when I was younger. My grandfather was an extremely talented artist. He painted, he was a carpenter, he did architecture for years. And all around our house, we were surrounded by his beautiful paintings of Europe. And my brother was a natural artist. We would sit down at the table side by side. He's 4 years younger than me, and he would be able to draw things that I just couldn't even imagine. I had the creativity, I had the imagination, but I just physically couldn't draw the same way he could. And so I learned to adapt. I learned to figure out a way to use what I knew to get a similar outcome that was what I thought would be interesting. So I used to take magazines and coloring books and different things, and I would piece together pictures and I would trace them, and then I would color them in, of course, extremely colorfully, because this doesn't just start with my hair color. This has always been something for me. And I made a new drawing. And so that became my creativity. And since then, Of course, my family is incredibly talented and I'm surrounded by them all the time, which is always inspiring to me. They are musicians, they are singers, they're actors, they've played sports, they do all sorts of other crafts on the side, they garden, they do pottery. You can't even imagine the amount of things that my family does. And so I'm constantly in an environment where I'm pushed to do things that maybe I don't know how to do. And I have to take skills that I've learned previously to try to figure out how to make that thing my own. And that's really what creativity is all about, right? Making it your own. Even when you go to work and maybe you have a highly analytical job, like I did. I worked in accounting, finance, it's numbers, it's spreadsheets, and, sometimes that's not too sexy. Maybe you're an engineer by trade and you're sitting all day looking at code. Those things may seem very analytical, but the end result can also be more creative. You can solve problems in creative ways by using your experience, your background, in order to come up with new definitions of how to solve these problems. This is the important part of when many people talk about diversity. And I really want to drive this message home to people because a lot of people think when they think diversity, they're purely thinking of what's going on the outside of what they can see about people. And that's actually where a lot of us fall into misguiding and misjudging who people are, because the outside of us says nothing about the inside of us, about the experiences that we've had in life, and about what we can bring to the table with our thoughts and ideas. For instance, I have 6 parents. We talked about that in episode 3 when I did a little bit of an intro of myself. That's not usual, but that can be a disadvantage and an advantage depending on how you look at it. Some people may say, oh my gosh, I had all these conflicting ways of growing up and I had different people telling me what to do. Yes, perhaps that's one disadvantage. But the advantage is I also had people with so many different life experiences that I was able to learn from them. And they like to experience different things. My mom was from Southern California. She loved to go to Disneyland. I just got back from Orlando. I love Disney as much as the next Disneyophile. And then my other parents love to go outside and do outdoorsy things and go hiking and camping and fishing. My mom probably wouldn't be caught dead doing a lot of those things because she doesn't like being dirty, but I do. And so it gave me this really varied view of the world because I had so many different perspectives that molded me as I grew up. And I want you guys to think about those things. Let's try to think about the things that maybe at first may seem like a disadvantage of how you experienced life at a young age or as you went through school, and start to think of what good came out of it. There is a silver lining to things, and that's where your creativity can be sparked. That differentiating factor can really give you new ideas that may not be the way other people think. Because when you go to school, you get this set syllabus, you get this curriculum that you're supposed to follow A, B, C, and then D. That's where a lot of people get lost because that's not the way life works. You jump all around the alphabet, you throw in numbers and sometimes calculus symbols. It gets crazy and you have to be able to adapt. And part of that adaptability is creativity. Lean on those experiences that you've had in life. Think about the ways that you can turn things just slightly to see them differently. Take a new perspective on them and start to find that passion that'll actually drive you towards new and exciting adventures. I think you'll be surprised. It's always sad to me when people say, oh, I'm not creative, because I know they think like I did when I was that little girl comparing myself to my brother at the table. That's not creativity. It's so much more well-rounded than that. And it's so much more important as we go into this new world. Change is inevitable. It will be the way of things going forward. As people continue to talk about new normal and whatever normal might have been before, it wasn't normal to begin with. There is so many jagged things that are going on and divergent ways that things are going to move forward. So dive into them. Don't be afraid. Don't hold yourself back. Don't think like that little girl did that, oh, I can't do this, and stop from even trying. Whether that's how you put together your resume, how you go to an interview, and how you represent yourself on your first day at the job. That authenticity, that uniqueness of you is important. It's important to bring forward. And that's the thing that's going to get you noticed. And that's the thing that's going to get you moving along in your career path. Now, I know there's a lot of introverts out there right now, which are probably having an anxiety attack as I'm telling them to put themselves out there. But let's think about also adapting that message to who you are naturally. When you are maybe more introverted and maybe not an extrovert like I am, where I'm more willing to put myself out there physically and emotionally, you think about the ways that you are comfortable with doing it, the things that you're proud of, your work. I think most introverts do such amazing work and they're often quiet behind the scenes and don't get noticed. But I think that's where you can take your step forward. Think about how you can make your work differentiated from others. Think about how you can do things slightly different and something that'll make you proud of the work that you're doing. This is how you find your passion. I know we talk about, oh, hey, everyone's just quitting their job and moving on to the next thing. And then everyone worries, well, the grass isn't always greener. It's not so easy to just leave. A lot of times you do need to find the happiness in what you're doing. You need to inspire yourself and find a way to be intrinsically motivated. And I find creative ways of doing things make you find that. It helps you along that journey. So I know there's a lot going on here and there's many more ideas on creativity to come, but I hope you enjoyed the speech from Charles Leon. Follow him on Instagram. There's lots of information on our website and in the transcript where you can check out his amazing drawings and the work he's done in the British theater. And you know where to catch us at Green Chameleon Collective /podcast for this and many more episodes. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, and I hope you are inspired to be more creative. Bye. Well, another awesome show in the books. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed making it. For video outtakes of the show, don't forget to catch us on TikTok You Don't Stop at Nikki Green 678. The full-length shows are available on all the podcast platforms now, including Amazon Music, Stitcher, and Good Pods. The full video is available on Nikki's YouTube channel, and links to all of our social media, including info about our guests, is available in our show notes and on our website. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye.